Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is M. Fazal Salputrage with student number B1A 123139. I'm from Law Faculty, University Jambi, from the third semester. In this occasion, I would like to deliver my topic about Chapter 4, Acid Rain Pollution Control. A. The 1979 LRTP. Two conflicting principles of customary international law, namely territorial sovereignty and territorial integrity, make it difficult to resolve air pollution disputes. The principle of territorial sovereignty allows a state to use its territory freely without considering the negative impact on other states. In contrast, the principle of territorial integrity gives a state the right to be protected from damaging impacts of activities in the territory of other states. Principle 21 of Stockholm Declaration was designed to balance the two principles. But unfortunately, this declaration is not legally binding and cannot be expected to resolve this issue. On November 13, 1979, the European Economic Community or EEC adopted the Convention on Transboundary Air Pollution. The Long Range Convention or LRTP 1979 is an international treaty by designed to address transboundary air pollution, primarily to meet the needs of the European Economic Community. It was an important step in international cooperation, being the first multilateral treaty on atmospheric pollution and involving the EEC as a signatory to agreement between the North and the South. However, LRTP was limited to information exchange and monitoring, without setting clear goals and or boundaries. Participating countries committed to reducing pollution, but this commitment was not considered strong enough to change the existing situation. The commitments in the RTEP Convention were not considered strong enough to change the existing situation because participating countries remain the main actors in carry out remediation. If a country chooses not to take action, there is no force that could force it to do so. This prompted countries affected by pollution, such as Sweden, Norway, Canada, and the United States, to demand stricter regulation to control acid rain from transboundary pollution. On July 15, 1980, the EEC issued the SO2 Directive, which included statements from the LRTEP Convention on efforts to limit, reduce, and prevent air pollution. B. The 1985 SO2 Protocol. The SO2 Protocol, adopted in July 1985 by the executive body of the LRTP Convention, arose from the realization that without reduction standards, emissions that cause acid rain could not be minimized. The protocol, called the Protocol to the 1979 Convention on Long-Range Transboundary Air Pollution on the Reduction of Sulfur Emission or their transboundary flux by at least 30%, requires all member countries to reduce their transboundary sulfur emission by at least 30% on average. While the flat rate mechanism has been successful, it has also been criticized. The flat rate mechanism has been considered inefficient in preventing the impacts of sulfur emission because it does not take into account that emission from one country may have a greater impact in another country. It requires total emission reduction without specifying which source should be reduced, leaving participating other countries free to choose which source of emission to eliminate. As a result, emissions that have transboundary effect may not be reduced or regulated. In addition, the flat rate mechanism does not take into account the natural interaction of sulfur emissions with other substances in the air, which, which can cause other pollutants to cause greater harm. All of these factors need to be considered in drafting a new protocol. C. 1998 NOx Protocol. On November 1, 1988, the Executive Board of the LRTP Convention adopted the NOx Protocol, which established an initial freeze on nitrogen oxide emission at 1987 levels and required further reduction. The protocol adopted a critical load approach, which is quantitative estimate of exposure to one or more pollutants below level at which significant harmful effects on sensitive environmental elements do not occur based on current knowledge. Under the critical load approach, emission reduction targets are determined based on the predetermined environmental objectives, which are based on measurements of current deposits rates. This approach is considered most appropriate for regional initiatives to reduce air pollution because it links reduction to regional environmental conditions. Despite its advantage, some participating countries were dissatisfied with the NOx protocol's freeze on nitrogen oxide emission, with 12 of the 25 signatory countries proposing a 30% reduction. These countries included Bulgaria, Denmark, Finland, France, West Germany, Sweden, Italy, Liechtenstein, the Netherlands, Norway, Switzerland. Environmental groups also supported more significant reduction. D. The Volatile Organic Compounds Protocol. The purpose of the Volatile Organic Compounds or VOCs protocol is to limit emissions of VOCs and the formation of ozone and photochemical oxidants. VOCs are typically produced by the incomplete combustion of fossil fuels in motor vehicle engines. They also come from evaporation during the refining, distribution, and use of gasoline, and from the use of products containing solvents such as paints, adhesives, and inks. The protocol used two primary mechanisms to limit regulated substance. The first mechanism sets out three options that member countries can choose to freeze and reduce VOC emissions. The second mechanism requires the adoption of technology-based control for secondary sources, such as motor vehicle and products that limit VOCs. Under the first mechanism, member states are given three options to freeze or reduce VOC emissions, subject to certain conditions. The first, option 1, each member state is required to reduce its annual VOC emissions by 30% by 1999 upon signature or accession. A member state might choose the 1988 VOC emission level or any other annual level during the period 1984 to 1919 as the baseline for emission reduction. 2. Option 2. This option is intended for member states whose emissions contribute to tropospheric ozone concentration in areas under the jurisdiction of one or more other member states and areas designated as tropospheric ozone management areas or TOMAs. Countries in this category are required to reduce their annual VOC emission from these areas by at least 30% by 1999, using the 1998 level as the baseline or any other annual during the period 1984 to 1990 as may be specific at the time of signature or accession to this protocol. Option 3. Option 3 applies to member states whose annual VOC emission in 1988 did not exceed 500,000 tons, 2 kg, 20 kilograms per capita, and 5 tons per square kilometer. Member states that meet this criteria can choose to adopt effective measures to freeze emission by 1999 and then reduce them by 30%. DA. The 1994 further reduction of sulfur emissions. The protocol is designed to protect human health and the environment from the deleterious effects of sulfur emissions. Member states are required to comply from upper limits on sulfur emission that are neither greater nor less than level 1990
levels or those required under the 1983 SO2 protocol, with reduction in sulfur emission and transboundary flows of at least 30%. The protocol improved on the flat rate reduction approach adopted by the 1983 SO2 protocol by using the critical loads approach, which is a quantitative estimate of the pollutant below which no significant adverse effects on certain sensitive environmental elements occur. As a tool for effective implementation, member countries are required to exchange technologies and techniques, including the technologies that improve energy efficiency, use of renewable energy, and processing of low sulfur fuels to reduce sulfur emissions.